We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 14 of Blockchain Buzz. We just keep rolling them out, guys. We're back again with our friend Michael. Welcome to Blockchain Buzz, my friend. First
Thank you,
timer
Bill.
here. Hopefully, you'll
Thank
be
you.
a
Thank you.
regular guest. We've got Rule Black as always, and of course, Maximus Crypto. Let's see what's going on today, guys. How's everybody doing?
I'm great. I'm just happy to be here. I'm with well, let's just say I'm very happy to be here, and I feel humbled. So I hope I contribute well to this. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, my friend. You're always welcome.
Hey,
Max,
doing
what's
great.
going on? Oh, Rue.
Doing
we
great.
make Rue go last, remember?
Right? Hey, pleasure to be on one of these with you, Michael. I'm a fan of your content, man. Keep killing it out there, and happy to be in with the triple threat over here. So yeah.
Obviously, glad to be back as well. We're going to introduce Michael Golpe to all of the communities. I know there's a special feature to stream this to my audience. I should have got that set up, but that's okay. But nonetheless, we're glad to have you guys here. We want to highlight his channel just for a brief moment. So what's he all about? Well, Michael, come on, man. You've been covering things like XRP, the ISOs, et cetera, et cetera. So we have common ground in that. But go to Michael's channel, which we'll show here in a bit. He always has an interesting journey. Literally, it's a journey. Whether it's him getting up in the morning, going to work, talking about, XRP and some of these other real world assets, or whatever else is on your mind, right? So it's always an interesting conversation. And if anything, I'll pull this up on the screen for you guys. Here's his channel. And look at this. This guy's always, for the most part, the best dressed guy in crypto, right? You'll see him in that suit and so on, right? Shout out to Adam of Viber Finance, another really greatly dressed person. So his channel is literally at Michael Golpe, right? So there it is, Michael Golpe, Golpe. And then his X, if you're interested in that, is the same thing. So kind of like Rue, right? His is at Black Rue on both. Michael Golpe is Michael Golpe at both. So there you guys have it. We do appreciate you guys if you can, support our fellow brethren in this space.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, just try to tie in everything real world, for everyone to just get ahead and not to be held back anymore. And, could put on my tinfoil hat all I want. It's the system is rigged, and you just got to work hard to get ahead, but not work hard like they always tell you. You got to work hard and smart. So I just want to put that out there.
Absolutely, man.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have an interesting, insightful conversation. Obviously, Rob's got some things he wants to share in regard to some news. Rue's got some things, but we're going to have an interesting conversation, all four of us on our panel. So guys, especially on YouTube, you know how it goes. Consider smashing the like. If we have to earn it, I think we will. So, Rob, what do you have for us, brother?
I got the fries that'll cross your eyes, brother. That's what I got, right? I just want to get into the chat real quick here. We got Rockhound. Ken, what's up, buddy? What's up, Alpha Pack? Let's go. WF Capital's in the house. Blessings, John. Good to see you, my friend. Second one in the chat, yes. And, of course, Ben. Shout out to Ben. Over in our trading group, my guy, first comment. Yes, hit the like button, guys. Hit the subscribe. Helps the channels grow, and it costs you absolutely nothing. That's the good thing about it. How it says, I'm really hoping BTC goes to 40K. Yeah, you and me both, my friend. Let's get to 55 first. So basically, first, I like to kind of have a discussion, as you guys know, about where each of you sees the market right now, what your tone on your channel is this week, and what you see happening in your kind of opinion moving forward. Are we going down? Are we going up? Are we going sideways? What do you think? Max, we'll start with you, my friend.
Well, I mean, just a second. I'm actually reposting this. So the way I look at it is, do we have enough that will push us to the next level. Like some people have seen so many things. I don't know if you guys have been following the whole thing of the magic month of April. Well, it could be magical. It might not be magical, right? But again, for me, it's having a watch list. Not so much just focused only on BTC. Nothing wrong with that. But again, I like the idea of keeping some dry powder on the side to look at projects that are still, I guess you could say, distressed. Or, these are the opportunities, as the saying goes, to still accumulate what you haven't hit your goals on. And for me, Rob, you do it too, right? Especially like on your Patreon, where you look at your portfolio. You can help people look at your portfolio. So a lot of times people just don't do that. They don't even have a portfolio. They kind of just wing it. I've seen that consistently, believe it or not, where people just be like, well, I'll just look at what the price is on an exchange, or I'll just look at, right through my app. Again, just create like a free portfolio, like CMC. Though people aren't big fans of CMC, again, just go there, create a free portfolio, and then click on the watch list, then add these coins and tokens, and then check what you DCA'd into. But again, as far as answering your question, I feel as though that we could be at the next leg up very soon. How soon? Is that tomorrow? Not necessarily. But I know apparently you have some things you want to share with in regard to a chart and so on. This guy's excellent with charts, as you guys know. So I'm kind of mixed on that. But I do realize at the same time that BTC and ETH, they are still the dominant forces. And despite where people are like, there is no 4-year cycle, yes, there is. We're literally living in it again. So those are some of my thoughts, if you want to count that as thoughts or not.
Yeah, I would agree with you that that you're absolutely right. I mean, the 4-year cycle's intact. I see some people saying that the 4-year cycle's broken because the yearly candle ended red. But for me, listen, that's one tiny metric amongst many. Bitcoin, at the end of the day, the bottom line is Bitcoin topped exactly where it was supposed to top between September and November. No surprises there, right? Just because it fell faster after it topped doesn't mean that the 4-year cycle is broken. It topped exactly where it was supposed to. An average of about 525 days between the Bitcoin halving and the peak of the cycle continues to stay the dominating facts or truth in the market. So, yeah, the 4-year cycle being broken, it still reigns supreme in my opinion. What do you think, Roop?
Well, we were talking about this a little bit last night after you left. Thanks for dropping through, Rob. Well, Bitcoin's already done a 52% drawdown. If there's any reason to believe that it's different this time, would be that their ETFs, their Bitcoin asset, digital asset treasuries, their retirement accounts that are diamond handing Bitcoin. So could it be possible that this is the end? Maybe. Like we talked about before, also, Rob, Binance with its snafu fund went and bought like 300 million of Bitcoin at the bottom after they were probably the cause of getting it to that point, right? So maybe this is a little bit different. So could the people that said that the 4-year cycle is over, could they be half right? Maybe. One thing I think that is held true is every cycle has never been like the previous cycle. Every cycle has been increased. And one of the big differences of this cycle is that Bitcoin broke its all-time high before the halving. I think that's pretty significant. And I think we've seen like every 4 years the cycles have moved faster. So I know like we gotten a traditional sell in May, walk away type of deal, but remember October when people were calling October, and there was a lot of research, like credible, great research to say, hey, we usually go up in October, and it was right. Like it was right. The research was right. That's not what happened, but the research was valid research. So if people are looking for like a consensus, and the consensus is saying that we go down in May, I don't know. Like it might be that we're actually done, and we might start, consolidating a little bit and then actually heading up.
Yeah, yeah. October definitely was very, very not your traditional October. I mean, a lot of that does come down to manipulation, though. I mean, we're seeing the truth start to come out with Binance and the unpegging of the stable coin and the yield they were offering, causing the entire circuit to kind of malfunction, got into a bad loop, and they've yet to take any kind of responsibility. I covered a story I think last week that apparently the SEC is now looking into it. So I'm really hoping something comes from that. I'm hoping that there's some consequences for Binance, because one of these major exchanges that keeps doing this, and this is just my opinion, needs to be kind of nailed to the wall on what they're doing as an example to the rest of the exchanges. Look, you do this, you manipulate these markets. Like look at recently we saw the announcement from Binance that they were going to start using their SAFU fund in USDT to start buying Bitcoin. 2 days later, Bitcoin flash crashes, and then they announce, "Oh, so we started buying." You think it's a coincidence, right? How convenient that we have a flash crash just before Binance is ready to start using their dry powder to start filling up on Bitcoin. Like, man, don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining.
Michael, some of your thoughts in regard to this. I know that you're the guy that you probably have some thoughts in regard to it all.
Oh yes. I think this is, pardon me, definitely controlled. I definitely feel that there's manipulation going on. I feel that we don't have enough liquidity to stop actions like this. And I've discussed this before, that we are right at this sweet spot where if we lose any more liquidity, which we have been doing, we'll be much more able to be manipulated. However, if more people just jump in, start getting into, in my preference, the ISO coins, and even if they look at it as akin to a stable coin for the next couple of years, at least they locked in some value, that type of thing. And then once it goes over a certain point, the point I don't know, then a lot of the games that have been going on are not going to be able to keep going on. They definitely manipulate everything from sovereign debt and the cycles for sovereign debt, etc. And I just feel that even though it's a scary time for a crypto world, it's a great time to be in crypto, because the opportunities like this, I don't think we're going to get again, at least not anytime soon.
One other thing
go
I
ahead,
wanted to add, Michael kind of made me think of this, that we're at maximum fear. During the Super Bowl, right? They had a Coinbase commercial, and there are pictures of everyone booing at their Super Bowl commercial at the party when they find out that the commercial is a Coinbase commercial. So we're at maximum fear, maximum hate for crypto, which is kind of crazy considering like we only drew down 52%. It's not as much as previous years,
Right.
but with the whole propaganda machine, they were successful to compare and kind of match up Bitcoin with Jeffrey E, if you will, right? So, so in a lot of people's minds, even though God's a mathematician, he's not an engineer, so he can't be Satoshi, right? But in people's heads, right, they are matching Bitcoin and crypto to Jeffrey.
Yeah.
That's not an accident. Yeah, it's a way for them to keep suppressing the price. They don't want retail to come in at these prices and buy the lows because they are. So how do you influence retail investors or dumb money to not buy in right now? Well, simply associate it with somebody like Jeff E. And there you go. They're going to say, "Oh, I don't want to touch that. Like it's a P coin, and stuff like that." Like that's what they do. And then later they'll say, when they're done filling up their bags, who knows? Maybe it's a year from now, maybe it's 6 months. They say, "Oh, turns out He's what he wasn't Satoshi, so it's all good. You can buy it now that we're ready. Right?
I'm glad you brought that up because again, it's back to the whole portfolio thing. So there's a small percentage of people that will be the new people where they'll just basically blindly come into all this, Rob and our panel, and say, you know what, I heard that when there is fear in the streets, I should just, I should buy the fear. Well, that's cool. But again, back to portfolio reference, because if you're just blindly throwing it at things like BTC and Ethereum, the most popular ones, again, back to the whole portfolio thing, because if you recognize, you know what, this project, which does have utility, is literally in reference, according to numerous outlets like CMC or CoinGecko or whatever you use, and you could consistently see, like, you know what, this has been around since 2018, and it had, as Rob pointed out, at least a bull market in 2021 in that cycle. And where's it at right now? Well, geez, I don't know. It's got 80% or more of the token in circulation. All right, cool. And on top of that, it's still alive. And they still have updates. They're updating the white paper and so on. And guess what? I just noticed that 3 days ago, they're at bottom. Those are the ones to add to your watch list, because those are the ones are maybe where you're like, you know what? While everybody's booing this stuff, you buy the fear on that specific altcoin. You just don't take a bunch of money and you just blindly throw it out. Oh, I'll just try this. I'll just try that. You know how many times I've seen people literally treat this stuff like it is their version of lotto tickets? Because what do they have the reference? They're doing this in real life at their local convenience store. They're going to their convenience store and they're, again, buy me the 333, or like, you know what I'm talking about. What do they call it here in Arizona? I think it's like triple something other.
I don't know, bro.
Anyway,
I don't
some
mess
people
with
are
that stuff.
well, anyway, and then there's some other ones depending on what state you're in. But again, don't treat this stuff exactly like how you do that, right? Because it's a whole different ball game, and that's the main thing I want to point out. So, again, back to the whole portfolio thing. Get yourself a free one if you can't spend money on a premium one like Merlin or anything like that, because it will help you. And then again, if the circulating supply says 5% in this time, you are going to continuously be on the other side, right? The falling knife going the other way, getting dumped on. They keep releasing more of the coins and so on. Again, Rob, you pointed this out. I think maybe it was on our Patreon exclusive. I don't know. But you did mention there is instances where you actually can make an entry point and so on. And that's a little bit different. Like if they stopped, right? There's all sorts of numerous examples. But again, that's something I just want to share because it was interesting what you just brought up, Rob.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And yeah, what I was kind of talking about, yeah, if you need experience, definitely, and the ability to recharge, to know how to work with the token unlocks and things like that, to be able to capitalize on it, right? Like I used Ondo as an example in that thing, where every year Ondo does a token unlock on January 18th, and it's considered a rather large one. But for various reasons, it's not as large as people think. People have incentives. The early investors are incentivized to actually not sell, so they don't. And so what happens is the price ends up going down from fear from retail investors that the price is going to go down because of the unlock. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The price goes down beforehand, then the day of the unlock, right? I usually put in a long on that day, and it usually pops back up 20, 30% within a couple of days, right? And all those people who sold missed out, right?
Mm.
It comes with experience, though.
It is true, and that's the whole thing. It's the journey. I mean, everybody for the most part has a different journey, but there's also those who have a similar journey, and it's dependent on how many cycles that you may have been. And I don't dismiss people that came in before me. I also don't dismiss people that came in after me.
Yeah. Myriad wants to know from Michael, thoughts on ZBEC. I don't know if you cover ZBEC or not. Do you know much about ZBEC?
Not as much as the other two gentlemen, and probably not yourself. I get my information from you guys, but I like everything I hear. And Zebek is something to own, in my humble opinion. And put it this way, I would never sell Zebek if I owned it. I'll say it that way. Yeah, I mean, the connections there, and the connections that this panel here has brought out with, oh my gosh, Jasmine, XRP, QNT. I mean, everything you guys cover. And it's a product I love. I see a use case for it. And when I was, I'll say, meditating on it, I started to see other use cases that could be utilized for. And it seems like a growth in what I'm calling instantaneous technology, where I think because of the technology, we're going to realize use cases that we are not realizing yet. So yes, I like Zebek.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Carl says the composite man is a master of spreading FUD. Absolutely. Fun fact, Jeff E. won the lottery twice. Did he really?
Oh, wow.
Twice? Man, talk about luck. Derek, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Twice. Unreal indeed. Yeah, so we're caught up in the chat. Perfect. Yeah, so kind of moving forward here, guys, what do you think that the Fed's going to be doing? Man, inflation went down again, right? We keep seeing inflation tick downwards, and we keep seeing Powell use inflation as an excuse to not print money, not cut rates, not start quantitative easing officially, right? What do you think, man? How much longer can this man, can he hold on doing this playing the same song and dance until May? Or is something going to give? Who wants to go first?
I'm going to go first on this. So do we not see the common ground when it comes to these sinister people? And where I'm going with this is, what's a perfect reference for this, everybody? Gary the Gopher Gensler. Yes, Gensler. He was the type of guy like, yeah, I know that Trump's going to kick me out the day of his inauguration. What does he do? He waits it all the way out. You freaking, you know what? Like, seriously. Yeah, he did that. So why would Powell be any bit different? Again, the people that are, some people call it conspiracy, call it whatever you want. It's these people that sit in these boardrooms that still have the influence, if you will. And this is something I think we talked about before with our panel. Not with Michael. Glad to have Michael here to discuss this. So the way I look at it is, again, is this new chairman going to be the problem solver? Well, some people say yes. Other people say no, if basically Powell still has influence, right? Again, you can remove or cut off the head of the snake, but if he's still present in your boardroom meetings, then that makes a difference. So again, back to what you're talking about, Rob. I kind of have mixed emotions about it and so on, but again, if you're going to be this guy who's just going to be like, yeah, I'm going to be completely removed even from the board, right? Then why don't you like resign at this point? You know, and that's the frustration that some people have. And some people say, well, it's just right around the corner. I mean, technically, he'll be up in May. But then at the same time, when you look at what Trump and his cabinet is looking to do before then, it's a frustration. It's like they're wanting to go balls to the wall immediately with some of these policies and some and whatnot. I hate to use this expression, but it's like, you know, as much as what that cabinet wants to do, the administration wants to do, then it's like you have these other, I hate to say, sinister people that want to like cock block them. All right. I will use that term again, you know? So these are some of my thoughts. And again, common ground with Gensler. Again, it's trying to sit it out to the very, very end. Is it pride or is it policy? It's a combination of both.
I think he's getting paid to stick around till the end.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that too. But again, failed policy, because again, you can just have somebody who will cut that off. I think somebody else wanted to chime in here. I don't know if you were raising your hand, Michael, or you just go like this. Yeah.
Well, actually, I just want to throw something in real quick, because that's my degree right there. It's only a BA, but I achieved a lot with it. International honors in economics with a minor in organizational leadership. So I'm going to apply all that theory and tie it in, because I really like what you said there because you're actually describing a mindset of these people. So, having been in system where you're indoctrinated on basically everything on the fiat currency system, fiat's great, which it is not. I was having this argument earlier today with someone. You're conditioned that once things reach a certain point, you have to raise rates until you break something. Now, they talk about it in metaphor until you break something like it's a vase. No, it's people's lives that you're breaking at this point. You're taking food off tables. You're making sure people can't pay their bills on time, whether it's the rent, mortgage, what have you. So when you break something, you're breaking people's lives, and they do it cyclically, in my opinion. But this is the mindset they come from. And they're like, oh, I have to do this. It's for the good, and everything else that they condition themselves into. So with that mindset, they are looking at, I'll call it the game of life, or at least the life of money, in a certain way that it follows certain patterns and only those patterns. However, they don't realize the intricate parts of this where I tie parallels on my channel with the different cryptos and where they fit in different parts. And some of the parts are kind of interchangeable where they could be used for this, but then next thing you know, it's being used for that instead, one thing to another. And from what I'm seeing, we're having, now, I don't know if I can put this out there or not. Please feel free to edit as you see fit. But I really think we're moving on to a gold standard. Powell and his crew don't like it. Trump put Marsh up there, and now we're getting certain things about Marsh that are hitting the wire, I'll say, that are a little, if true, are a bit concerning, to say the least. And then you have, what's the lady's name? Judy Shelton, the one that wants to go into the gold standard. Her name is getting put out there as a possible replacement. So this could be a very big, elaborate game to put the right people in the right places. And will they keep the Fed? Will it go away? Will it be changed in a radical way? In my opinion, all things are on the table. I think, especially with the reverse carry trade and everything else, the dollar could be in serious trouble. So let me kick it back to you on that.
What do you think, Group?
Honestly, Michael, that's exactly where I was going to head with it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They put what's that?
I go, oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's great. It's a great segue.
Thank you. All right. Go.
So Kevin Walsh, Trump came in with him, and then the market went down because he's not a guy that likes quantitative easing. So now he's kind of backing off, saying like it was a mistake. And now we got Miss Sheldon here, who's more of a gold standard person. So thinking about whoever Trump chooses, we know we've been talking about it on the channel a lot with World Liberty Financial, where he's building his own bank, his own cryptocurrency based bank. So I think whoever he kind of puts in that position is going to help slick things through with cryptocurrency even better, right? And you got to think if they're going to do something with the gold standard, maybe we stop with these whole paper bonds that we're just, moving here, there, and the other place, and we actually start bonding real world assets, or we start bonding things like XRP through Flare, right? Because you could bond through Flare, you could bond XRP. That XRP generates yield. It could be used like a bond. So it'd be pretty interesting if we did something where we connected something like XRP or Stellar to gold and silver, and then use something like Flare to bond it and started trading those back and forth through something like a Canton.
I really like what you put together there. That's great. I like that.
I just want to add something real quick to what Rue just mentioned. So in reality, like, we have platforms that are part of these ecosystems that are doing this right now. the other day covered like Meld Gold. That's actually doing gold, silver right now on the XRPL. So again, you're having digital representations of gold bullion, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, there's many other platforms that do this, but again, back to the whole thing like the XRPL, even XDC, right? You have Comtech Gold. Comtech actually, ironically, is with the XRPL as well. I share some of that. Again, it's always interesting to see some of this. Now, originally, Rob, you mentioned the whole thing of the topic of the Fed. I don't know if you have something else you wanted to get into, but I would like to maybe have a segue at some point where we get into a brief discussion, a little bit more on the concept of the Fed and obviously what they're doing and so on.
Segue away, brother.
All right, so guys, this is a real treat. Unexpected. We never shared this before. A little bit that we did share, but the next part, the next key connector we haven't. I released a video, came out yesterday in regard to the topic of what is called XRP 300. And the day before that, I did 322, which is, again, like the mystery of Arthur Brito. There was a key connection, I guess you could say, that was mind-blowing. All right, so again, consider smash that like. I think you guys will like this one. So I was really excited to share some of this with you guys. So I'm going to try to pull some of this up. I think you have a comment you want to read before we do that. Oh, you're muted, my friend.
Oh, I realized that. Doug says, XCN about to roll, Goliath about to launch any day. Burn built in, Goliath white paper. Wow, let's go. Yes, I'm a fan of XCN for sure.
Yeah, you guys crushed it on that one for sure. All right, so what I want to do is I want to share this on the screen, and we're going to start off with here. Rob and Rue are very familiar with this one, but it's going to be a nice segue to make it make sense. So on my channel, before I've been covering this topic of what is referred to as the Fedcoin. Shout out to Brother in Space Smoke. He pointed out a while back that the Federal Reserve's David Andolfato confirmed that clearing and settlement at the Fed can be delegated to a third party like Ripple. This explains Ripple's pursuit of a Fed master account to directly settle central bank money, of course, using XRP. And what's important to recognize here, again, is the terminology, because this was shared numerous times, and a lot of people saw it obviously on X. As you can see here, 151,000 views. But the main thing to really consider here is what was missed. So I will go ahead and play this again, and then we'll have some discussion about this. Let's go ahead and full screen this. Here we go.
That is, people say, how can you trust, the Fed to do the bookkeeping? I mean, like I said, my response is, well, you don't expect the Fed to kind of steal your money. I mean, if the Fed can print all the money at once, it's not going to mess around with your bookkeeping. So, we have this big spreadsheet, the BlockChain if you want, but it's just managed by the Fed, and it's very cheap, much cheaper than Bitcoin, if you're willing to delegate the responsibility to a third party. But then the downsides to all of that, of course, is you'd actually suppose you didn't want the Fed to be responsible for processing the payments. I mean, suppose, the Fed will likely impose some KYC restrictions on some purchases. They might not process some purchases that you might want to undertake. And so it was at that point that I said, well, we could, if we wanted to, extend the concept one step further. I'm not saying that this is ever going to happen, but just conceptually, you could imagine not Fedwire for all, but kind of like a Fedcoin, where what the Fed would do is actually just issue these, Bitcoin-like objects, but and they would enforce a par exchange rate with the U.S. dollar. That would eliminate the exchange rate volatility. But they could delegate the clearing of these payments to some third party, some sort of Ripple-like protocol, or possibly even Bitcoin. I mean.
All right, so we have shared this before. Okay, we're gonna come back in the frame on this for a second. So again, two key things to take away from this. Clip it if you need to. Number one, you heard David basically mention what? Fedcoin. Number two, immediately after he alludes to the whole thing, like, oh, maybe like a Ripple. All right, so we already shared this with you guys before in the past. Okay, I don't know if you need to read that. Go ahead. Oh, you're muted again.
Yeah, I like to flash them on. Sorry, this migraine's killing me. Yeah, I just like to flash them on the screen while you're talking, so you don't have to stop.
Well, my friend, listen, man. If you're not feeling good, we can end this. I don't want you to suffer.
Let's keep going, man. Let's keep going.
Okay. All right. I mean, a migraine is no. Migraines suck, man. I mean, it works for me when I met with you in person. Go ahead.
I'm gonna have it whether we're sitting here talking or I'm over there sitting down, right? So
I'm sorry, man. That's gonna be rough. You know, like I mentioned to you when I saw you the last day I saw you before I took you to the airport, was for me it works. Not everybody it works. You take peppermint, you crush it up, and I know some people are gonna laugh at me saying this, but you inhale it deeply. It works for a certain percentage of people and activates something in your neuro pathways and it kills it. It doesn't work for everybody though, but I'm just saying give it a try sometime. It worked for me. So
cool.
All right. So listen, we're gonna get into this, and basically speaking, it's I don't really think this has really been shared. And again, it's something I'm pretty excited to share this. It's a conversation with Chris Larson and basically Brad Garlinghouse on recent innovation in payments. Where does this actually come from? Believe it or not, it comes from the Philadelphia Fed. They only have 3.62 thousand subscribers. And again, think about this. These are not platforms that are looking to get a bunch of YouTube subscribers. These are just platforms just to share, obviously, things amongst their own private communities, right? Absolutely. Now, in the video I dropped the other day, right, yesterday, I kind of elaborated on some of these things. So in reality, it's like a brief little preview of what's to come. So again, remember what I just shared with you guys in regard to Fedcoin. And number two, remember what what was his name again? David Andolfato, again, for the Federal Reserve, mentioned in regard to like Ripple. Okay. I've gone ahead and fast forward to this key area. And in my notes, let's see here. I know where to cut it off. Yeah. All right. So we're going to play this. Keep in mind the lady in the middle is Sheila Warren. Now, if you're wondering about her, basically speaking, she's the moderator. She's CEO of Crypto Council for Innovation. Now, before actually we start this, I want to talk about this real quick. Brad Garlinghouse, what happened with him recently? He was selected to the CFTC for like innovation and so on. Okay, so again, think about that, and let's go ahead and share this. Here we go.
Okay. And so when you start thinking about enabling an internet of value and some of the decentralized natures of the currency that Chris was talking about, it's how do you get it moving? And the highest friction point, I mean, there's a lot of friction points in payments. There's a reason why FedNow was invested in. There's a reason why a lot of these things have
there's a reason why FedNow is invested in. Let's continue.
Been developed recently, but the highest friction point has been cross-border payments. And I say that friction in terms of cost. I say that friction in terms of speed. I say that friction in terms of error rates. I'm guessing many people in this audience, either professionally or personally, have had the experience of, wait a minute, this has been 2 weeks and I still don't have a credit that I thought I was going to have. And I just recently personally had that experience. So, by using some of the underlying technologies, and for Ripple, it's building upon a digital asset called XRP, really taking some of that friction and making it almost real time, almost free per transaction, and you're moving the error rate down to close to zero, is the opportunity. And if you start with a really high friction place like cross-border payments, we see it potentially propagating into other areas as well. But I do think at the core, and as Chris talked about, Bitcoin at the earliest days, and you go back to the Bitcoin white paper, it was about payments. The challenge is, not all crypto has transaction speed and cost that makes sense for payments.
So
all right, let's come back into the frame. Whoever wants to first take it. Again, you just heard literally Brad Garlinghouse say, quote, FedNow in what? And Ripple, because last I checked, there's only 3 people in that panel, and they're specifically talking about Ripple and what they're doing. So again, the Fed, this is part 2 of what we talked about in regard to the Fedcoin. Rue, Michael, Rob, whoever wants to take it first.
No one wants to take that one.
That's a doozy. Go ahead.
I'm trying to blow my nose. That's why I'm.
Gee whiz, I don't know if I have anything really much to contribute on that, but it just goes to show how interconnected the finance world really is. It's very selective, and they all know each other. So, and especially when you look into Brad's background and how he came from what was that, AOL, I want to say, and that goes back even further with him. You know, I'm not saying these people hang out with each other every night, but they often get invited to the same dinner parties. So that, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's no real surprise. Like Max and I, we've talked about this before. I think we talked about it the other day on Thursday, I think it was. How none of this really, to people like us who've been following Ripple and XRP, none of this stuff ends up, being a surprise to us. The dots were always there to connect. All you had to do was look.
I think a lot of this might be hard for people to conceptualize because, like, in America, things are so easy for us. We just get to, tap things with our phone and whatnot. Like, maybe like a lot of us don't deal with cross-border payments and things like that. But when you think about a gig economy, in that I could hire the best worker, the cheapest worker from anywhere, and be able to pay them with something like Zabek with dollars. Now that like makes so much sense. It's less error prone. Like, there's not so many fees to pay this person, and now you're paying this developer who might be the same quality as an American developer, but you're paying this developer like cents on the dollar, right? Now it's very, very easy for you to do that with something like Ripple, which ZBCN, for all we know, may be working through Ripple to do this, right? So when we think about the problems from an institutional level, which Ripple will solve, I think that's hard for us to kind of conceptualize as like an everyday American.
I would definitely agree with that. And it just goes to show you people, not financial advice, of course, but it just, in my opinion, it just shows me to tell people, get in this while you can. Don't be flooded out. Don't be scarred. Don't be manipulated. Don't fall for the propaganda, because if it happens to you, what's a better polite expression? You'll be stuck. I'll say it that way. Better to be in it and lose, in my opinion, than to not be in it while everyone else wins.
Well, one of the reasons that we connect these dots for everybody, for me personally anyway, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, if you feel different, is because it was the same in the late 90s when it came to stocks and stuff, right? You had your good picks and you had your nothing burgers, right? Now, the good picks, if you looked under the carpet or whatever, you could see all the connections. You could see it was a lot harder back then, though, because the internet being, what it was then versus now. Now we have the advantage of being able to do the research, gather this information, and connect these dots, because a lot of companies in 10, 15, 20 years from now, we're going to look back and we're going to go, a lot of these companies died off, but look at your Ripples, look at your Jasmines, look at your Quants, look at your Zbex, like, you look on all the connections here, right? They're all pointing to a big neon sign saying these are the kind of projects you want to be involved in. I mean, it's never financial advice, but the writing's pretty much on the wall. And they know the average retail investor doesn't have the time or the resources, like the know-how to do this research and connect these dots on their own. And that's a large reason why, for me personally, I think that we do this for people, right? My stepdad asked me once, he said, if you had to describe what you did for a living, what would you say? I said, I do research for people who don't have time to.
Yeah, I like that because most of our audience, that's the boat that they're in, and I can respect that. And even I myself, the way I look at it is, I'm a former educator. Like I used to tell my students in classroom, I always tell them from day one, the day that you claim you know everything is the day that you have basically said to the world you are not willing to learn anything more moving forward. And you need to humble yourself because that's a sense of having pride. Some people, of course, have too much pride. And I know it's biblical as well, but my main thing is I'm always going to be open to learn other things. I have to be, especially in this day and age, especially with the whole idea that AI is literally replacing me as a former educator. So if that's if that's where we're going, and apparently as quick as I honestly think 4 years, 4 to 6 years in that window. I'm not rooting for that. But basically speaking, it's like, yeah, I got to be open to some of these things. So um, if somebody's going to explain the research for me on things I have not, researched, right? Like there's some projects you guys cover that you probably research a lot more than me. XCN is probably a perfect example, right? And there's ones that I research probably more than you guys. And so, but that's not the point. The point is realizing that you don't have to be the guy that does it all. The power of networking. We're a network. We bring our thoughts and ideas together and we share our perspectives and so on. So I do want to go back down to what Ru has just mentioned. He used obviously the example of Zebek. Well, that's fine. And I'm glad that you do that, my friend, because what is the common ground here with what I just basically shared with you guys? Well, let me read that. Max, did you just say you snort peppermint, brother? If I have a migraine, yeah, absolutely. And again, I would recommend people be open to that. It's just, we talk about life hacks. It works for some people. It's a real thing. It's because it's like a natural, call it a fume, right? I rather snort something like that than obviously some of that bad stuff, right?
So you don't have to justify yourself, brother. You don't have to justify yourself, brother.
Yeah, these two guys, every episode, these two guys.
You gave them some good information. If they choose to not take it, it's fine.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, it's a real thing. You take real peppermint. You take like take not necessarily a hammer, like a tenderizer, whatever you can crush that up, and it releases a fume. And at least it's a natural one, and it works for certain people. I don't know what the statistics are, but there's a certain percentage of people where it works for.
To be clear, you're talking about bringing in those fumes, not railing the powder from the peppermint.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're not trying to be like, okay, man, you got the peppermint, man,
Be the Tony Montana of peppermint. Just
no.
But
I forgot where we're going with this. It's all right.
But back on the rails here. You mentioned something about
I understand
AI,
we got to reach super chats, and we do thank you. You just super chat to Rob, but shoot, I forgot where we're going with that. Anyway.
I don't want to derail
I'm a big holistic health guy, Max. So no, thank you for that tip there, brother. But I just shared something on the screen. You mentioned about AI kind of replacing us all, right? I think we're really kind of sleeping on how AI is going to replace us in the future. Here, Coinbase wallets, they have something introducing agentic wallets, our first ever wallet infrastructure built specifically for autonomous agents. Give your agent the power of a wallet. Let your agent manage funds, hold identity, and transact on chain without human intervention. Like, imagine this applied to something like carbon credits or something like that, right? They could be doing this all day long with carbon credits, buying and selling, and with the whole lack of power they have for these these AI data centers, maybe this is something they end up doing, right? So I think we kind of underestimate, and again, this is something that's hard to conceptualize because this is something we're not doing at all at this point right now. But in 5 to 10 years, maybe these AI agents are taking over where they're doing all the buys and sells, and the economy is moving in light speed due to AI agents and their buying and selling.
Mm-hmm. Doug says, do you guys know much about the best wallet token? Does tons of YouTubers talking about pre-sales since it went live. No one's talking about it. Went way down on pre-sale. They say a debit card soon. I don't know what you're referencing. In terms of wallet tokens, I don't buy wallet tokens personally. You guys?
No idea.
No clue. I agree. We're literally in the midst of a financial evolution, and it seems like the majority don't see. Well, that's the way it always is, though, right? The majority won't see it until it's too late.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's designed that way, right? Think about, to go back on what Max was talking about. This is an example. Really think about this for a second. You had Ripple drag through an insanely long, obscene court case. Like, I followed along that whole case, and at times it felt like I was beside myself because it was so absurd. Some of the some of the claims from the SEC, some of the like, they were just trying everything to drag this court case. So you have to ask yourself, why did the SEC make a complete and utter ass out of themselves as an agency to drag this case out for as long as humanly possible, right? Not because they wanted to look like asses, right? So, yeah, just something to think about. Foolish man thinks he knows everything. A wise man knows he doesn't. Yes.
Hey, Jonathan, thank you for coming on over from the quant community. I know I posted that and you jumped in. It's much appreciated, man. Thank you.
We love you, Jonathan. We love quant as well.
Mm.
That's exactly right. Crap, I thought I was spearmint. They're really running with that one. I was watching the kids and was like, wait, what? God bless, guys. See who's hot on what, and I can't believe more of the bigger YouTube cryptogenesis, even mentioning Zebek. Okay. Anchor facilitates AI agents, lots of partners. Okay. Didn't Anchor have like a massive exploit like a year and a half ago or something like that? Yeah.
Well, don't confuse Anchor. Some people confuse Anchor protocol with like ANKR with the one that was tied obviously to Terra Luna, and they're two totally different things. I just want to point that out. So
yeah. Yikes, just made it. Welcome in. Bare metal nodes. Nura is out. You guys should check it out. ABKR's project. Okay. Anchor, yeah, ANKR. They're the ones that had the exploit, aren't they? What, a year and a half ago? 2 years ago? I could be wrong, but pretty sure they had a hack or something. This one's for Michael.
Oh.
What are your 3 favorite projects right now?
That's easy. Well, almost easy, because right away, XRP, QNT. Third, depends like what your quote unquote mission statement is, when you want these things to pop, but I would lead towards probably XLM or Zebek. It all depends when you want these things to pop. But for safety, my opinion, yeah, XRP, QNT, and XLM. Yeah, you could throw XDC in as a challenger to the XLM, but that's the I'll stick with that.
Nice. Yeah, there's no wrong answer there, man. There's no wrong answer there.
True.
Max, did you have more to talk about on that topic, or you ready to move on?
I think I'm just gonna move on. I got like some other stuff, but I mean, I think this is no offense. I mean, it's one of those days. It's all good. I mean, I used to have some of this frustration when I used to teach. It's like selective hearing. It's like I could talk about all this stuff. Hey, look at this connection. Look at that. Look at all this great stuff. And it's just like, do you talk about peppermint? Oh, wow, I'm going to go try that. Like, all right.
Oh, we do.
I
have
used to have that problem with, again, in the classroom where I'll be like, all right, guys, we're going to get really deep into the invasion of Normandy and so on. And some kids would be excited about it and so on. You know, me, I was always excited about it. I'm like, yes, finally, the month of May, I could finally talk about D-Day. It was like my own treat. That's my own treat. Like some people, they could care less. I hate to say it to some of the kids, you know, but there'd be some. But like in reality, most of the kids in history class would be sitting there and like, yeah, I'm just bored off my, you know what. And then if you said something funny, right, like if it was peppermint, be like, peppermint, ha ha ha, and that's all they took from it. So you just spent all that time presenting that. And again, selective hearing, it just goes right out. Yeah.
Thing is, our community likes to joke around a lot. So.
No, I get it, man. It's all good. That's why we do recorded videos. So I think I'm just going to say this last part for the recorded, and that's okay.
X to let users trade stocks in crypto directly in their feeds. Bullish or bearish? What do you guys think? Michael, what do you think, man?
Honestly, I'm not a trader, and but even if I were, I don't think I'd be doing a live feed. No. That just hearing that kind of scared me. So no, not for me.
Rue?
I think it might be a precursor to betting or predictions markets on X. That just seems like to just get them ready for it. And since you're already there, you might as well do a little betting as well.
What do you think, Max?
I mean, you know, I think these platforms, right? They're here to come. I mean, obviously, there's who was it? The guy that betted on? Didn't we just talk about this, Rue? Like maybe a few weeks ago, the guy who bet on the whole thing of the invasion of Venezuela, right?
Yeah.
And so, what did he put in? Something like he like 30,000, and he came back with like 400K or more. So these things are they're coming. And I think there's just going to be more and more of these and so on. What is it? Polymarket, right? Polymarket.
Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes I think of poly-sign, but like it's not the same thing. Polymarket.
Here, my thoughts on X are a little bit deeper. Elon needs to get his together, in my opinion. I remember about 2 years ago, he came out and said that X was going to compete with YouTube to get content creators to leave YouTube and go to X. And then they made it absurdly impossible to monetize your X account. So where's the incentive for content creators to leave YouTube or any other platform and go to X? There isn't one, right? X makes all the money for any content that you create if your page is not monetized. They get all the ad revenue and everything. You get nothing. They make the ceiling so high you can't reach it unless you already have like a 500,000 subscriber follower count on X. And then you pair this on top of it. I just personally think that Elon he's trying to find ways to make more money through X because he put so much into it, which makes sense. But I mean, you get more bees with honey, right?
Well, just before he bought X, they had a Bitcoin tipping feature, which they kind of turned off. So at some point when they allow you to do like kind of a little bit of remittance / tipping on X, maybe he'll make even more money.
Yeah. What do we got here? I'm excited to see what the next huge partner Zbeck is going to announce. Yeah. I mean, Zbeck keeps saying that at some point they're expecting an announcement about some sort of product they've been in the works with Ripple about for 8 months now or something. Simon's been hinting at that. Maybe they announced something in Vegas at the XRP event in Vegas, April 30th and May 1st, right? Simon speaking there. So who knows? Do you think that Zbeck's super app drop will affect the price? No, I don't. I personally don't think so. Catalysts aren't really something that especially with low liquidity. I don't know. I don't see. I see it being a nothing burger for the most part. I mean, we saw the same thing happen with a lot, like Jasmy's mainnet launched. Everyone was expecting price to go up. It's like, no, this is something for the long term, not an immediate, like, 200-300% move to the upside. So that's my thoughts on it. I don't know. Rue, maybe you disagree with me.
Not really. No, I think it's just more infrastructure for when the Clarity Act gets passed, and now they can actually do the payroll. Like the streaming payroll will actually be able to be run through the super app. And everything will be in place for that to like kind of really turn it on for real once Clarity's passed. So I agree with you, Rob. I think it's just more plumbing to make everything work.
Yeah, big picture stuff.
What about you, Michael? What do you think about that? Do you feel as though that, like, I mentioned this before, 2021, that cycle, that market was positive catalyst can cause the tokens and the coins to get sent versus this, time that we're in 2026 where no, it's more of like liquidity, flowing in. If we have a great example of a lot of money coming into a project, literally in volume, et cetera, et cetera. Again, some of your thoughts on what Rob just mentioned.
Tying it all together, liquidity is definitely required. We definitely need more. But this is like putting plumbing in the street in the sense of like delivering water to houses that aren't built yet. You got to lay out the construction and repave the street, and the houses will come eventually. Just by nature, it's going to happen. So I don't think this will immediately have an effect, but it's something that will be needed in the long term. It's kind of like doing a long on infrastructure.
Yeah.
I like that analogy, doing a long on infrastructure. That's a good example.
WF Capital says, Maximus, where's Tim Shea?
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's something when I would do live shows all the time. Tim Shea used to be one of the first in the comments, and I'd be like, there he is, the one and only Tim Shea, who sprays from far away, who has everyone in Ripple hit the DECK, the mayor of crypto, the crypto commissioner, the one and only Tim Shea. Like, only he had that type of introduction because he was an OG that's part of the Maximus crypto community since like almost day one. Not quite day one, but almost day one. So that's what he's referring to. But thanks for recognizing that, WF Capital. Thanks for being here.
Ben spreading the love again. He likes.
Oh, you want me to say that one out loud for you? The $5 super chat? I can read that one for you. Because you know what I'm going to reference. All right. Hey, shout out to you guys. It has been 30 years since one of the greatest albums of all time, Fuji's The Score, was released. So with that said, you guys remember the whole part where it's like, you think I open a Chinese restaurant in the middle of the hood and don't know what's going on? I freaking represent, right? So $5 super chat says, from Benja Carr, hopefully I pronounced that right. Chinese proverbs say, meat in eye make man cry. Meat in nose, migraine goes.
You want beef? I wonder how casinos feel about it. Can the mother get another? What are your thoughts on Proppy? Me personally, I like Proppy. I think tokenized mortgages is a big thing moving forward. I mean, RWAs, right? The tokenization of RWAs is going to be huge in the years to come. So yeah, Proppy definitely a leader in that category right now. They don't really have too much competition. I like
and they're connected to the XRPL. That's a good point. Another one I would encourage you guys to look into is Relio. It was one of our best picks, man. Like, we called Relio at 8 cents. I came in at 9, right? But anyway, and we saw that thing go up to over $2 and some change. And of course, they changed the tokenomics. I got out at $1.50. But again, why am I mentioning this now? Look at where we were at. Right, you're roughly right in those original positions that we did well on. Don't marry all this stuff. That's one of my key takeaways. Yeah, I'm with Michael when he talks about like your XRPs, your quants, your XLMs, XDCs. for me, those are the long-term ones. I don't know. Especially XRP. I don't even know if I actually ever sell that personally. That's just me, not financial advice. But proppies and stuff like that, I will so take some of that and use that capital that I gained and put it into projects that I hit all my goals in. And I think for me personally, that's just a good thing to do. If you are the type of person that you're into 300 projects, some of you guys are, right? Like I know one, right? Our friend Mike C, not Michael Golpe, but Elon Musk, shout out to him. My God, he's in a lot of stuff. But some people will hodl everything. I'm not saying Mike C will hodl everything, but some people hodl every freaking thing. And so I personally, I don't think you hodl everything, but look into Relio. If we're going to mention Proppy, look into Relio. They are definitely there when it comes to real estate as well.
Yeah. Very, very excited for long term. I appreciate you guys grilling that into your communities religiously. Keep me up to date. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. There's too many people. Yeah, there's too many people out there shilling that you're going to get rich in a month. And, this is a long-term game, guys. You have to allow time for your investments to mature, right? When you think the plumbing is complete, do you think liquidity will rotate from metals? Eventually. Listen, just because it's whatever asset class you're in, if you're in a bear market, it's not a bear market everywhere, right? Liquidity, it's like water. It flows into different asset classes. In the last year and a half, it's been in the stock market and it's been in gold, silver, things like that. Eventually, the liquidity will start to flow out of there, and those will see bear phases, and maybe we'll see a risk-on appetite return, and that liquidity will flow into the Russell 2000 and into altcoins and stuff like that, right? So yeah, it flows around. I'm 70% down on everything. I can't wait to dump. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, guys, but we've got to our hour, and my head's gonna explode. So, anybody got any final thoughts? Some closing thoughts? We'll start at Michael and work our way down.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for having me on here. Definitely, you made me feel welcomed, and I'm in great company with all of you. My only thoughts are don't rush into this, even though I want there to be a lot more liquidity in our thing here. But exercise prudence, be ready for the long haul, and really do your research. Follow these guys here, then do some more, confirm everything, keep going, keep building, and learn everything that you're going to do. Thank you. Thank you again for having me. Absolutely, Michael. You have an open invitation anytime you want to come back, my friend. Oh, thank you. I'm going to take you up on that now. Absolutely. Rue, what do you got for us?
Pleasure as always. Yeah, happy to be here, guys, and I really enjoyed the show. And catch you guys next time.
Max, you're up, brother.
Yeah, glad to be here. I understand, we have our days where we feel good and we don't. So, get well soon, Rob. Hope you obviously feel better. Migraines are no fun at all, so we won't keep you any bit longer. But, just like I want to point out, thanks again to our brother in the space, Michael Golpe. Here's his channel. He can be followed over at Michael Golpe. And his X is also right here. And yeah, he's one of the best dressed guys in all crypto. So, yeah.
Check him out. Off today.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll jump back to your channel real quick. I mean, let's pull this up right here. I mean, check this guy out on his journeys, man. Look at this guy. Taking down the banks with an elaborate plan. Soda in the can, mama, I got what you need. Or Michael Golpe's got what you need. Sea change for XRP community. Shout out to, he gives some of his shout outs. He talks about some of the, Mr. Jeffrey E, as Rue would say, and then how about that? Oh, Cypher Rocks. Interesting to see you post that. We may have some news about that pretty soon. Not only cow bag, but anyway. Yeah, and then, he's got some other stuff. Obviously, we just talked about real estate, like property. So, check him out on his journey. He always is literally on a journey. Look at that. Look at all that snow out there. So, there you go.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Absolutely, man. Last one here. If you guys had to choose between Sui or Solana for me. I love Sui. Don't get me wrong. Sui's going to be big, but Solana's just further established.
I can answer that. So, I mean, yeah, I would have to lean in with Rob on that one. I mean, again, think about some of the narratives that were from, God, man, when was that? 2020, late 2022, I want to say, when FTX happened. The whole thing of, you don't want to be Solana's exit liquidity. And look how that turned out, right? So, you guys were talking about buying the fear. Back to what Rue was saying about the fear and greed index. My God, the fear and greed index, I think at that time was like a 1 out of 100 or something like that, right? And so, again, Solana was, what was it, Rob? Like $7 to $9, give or take. Let's just say 9.
Insane.
Yeah, I mean, wow, what an opportunity that was. So, again, the typical thing people will say is like, oh, yeah, but, the lights aren't on all the time. Do you know, if you were to look into some of their X spaces, some of the actual devs, they realize those things too, and they have made massive improvements to it and so on. But for me personally, I will not dismiss, obviously, Sui. I think the conversation you need to have with yourself is this. Do not blindly look at some of these things and just be like, okay, well, good enough. Don't just take me for my word, or Rob and so on. What I want you to do, I encourage everybody to do this, is sit down, add both projects to your watch list. Again, back to that reference we talked about at the beginning of the video. The reason why you want to do that is if your expectations for Sui is like, I think it's going to go to such and such a market cap. Again, understand the concept of market cap, the multipliers of market cap. And then see the entry points. If it's a better opportunity right now for Sui for you to pick up some compared to Solana, that's, again, a conversation you have with yourself. And then also, we see this happen all the time. All 4 of us will always be consistently asked this same question, and we're going to get asked tomorrow. We're going to get asked this next week, next month, next year. What is your price? What is your price prediction on such and such and such and such? The real question should be, what is your expectations of what you think it's going to reach based off a little bit of your research, not just all of ours, and how long will you be into these particular projects? Because that right there says it all. And where I'm going with that is, again, even back to ZBCN. Rue and I did the coverage of, can ZBCN get to $1? But if your expectation is, I'm only going to be in ZBCN because I expect it to go to $1 by 2027, guess what? That's probably not a good idea to do, right? If your expectations is, you know what, back to what Rob was talking about, an 8 to 10 year plan, then again, who is really winning? Because some people will say, how many ZBCN do I need to hold? Again, back to the reference of, how long are you looking to hold this particular project? And if the answer is, I'm only into this 1 year, 2 years max, again, maybe you have other reasons for it. Maybe it's based off your age, maybe it's your health, whatever the case be. But again, I would encourage you to look at the market cap, the multipliers. And if you come to the conclusion with Sui, I could buy this much Sui because it's at this particular market cap, and I see it doing I'm just throwing an example. I see this doing a 10x by such and such time compared to Solana doing it such and such time, then maybe Sui takes the cake. But if you look at Solana, you're like, well, if I buy this much Solana and I'm going to hold this to at least 2030 or beyond, then back to Rob's reference. So again, it's not all dependent on just listening to our thoughts and so on. You do have to have some of your own due diligence, and that is where you have a proper watch list. And again, we encourage some of you guys to check out our Patreons. We can guide you when it comes to some of this stuff where we say, look, what do you have in your portfolio? What are you looking to shift capital into? And we can break that down for you, because so many people, you might be tuning in for the first time and saying to yourself, I don't really have a plan with that. I never have had a plan on that. I just heard a few people say, check out Sui, check out this, check out that. But again, we will break it down with you, whether it's myself and Rue with deep dive research, or Rob saying, hey, look, here's what happened according to the chart in this time area. Here's the resistance that we had in this. It lost support. Actually, we lost these partners, et cetera, et cetera. Or you hear from Michael Golpe, who's like, hey, you know what? This is my thoughts of the day. All this darn stuff is going to go to zero. I'm kidding, but we're glad to share some perspectives. So I would say definitely have some sort of a plan. And if you need to expand that plan, then check us out.
Absolutely. Yeah, check out the Patreons, guys, for sure. You don't want to miss out on that. A lot of exclusive stuff there. Get the help that you need. And so this concludes our broadcast day, guys. Thanks everybody for showing up. Thanks for being here in the chat, in the comments, and thank you to everybody who watches the replay. Michael, thank you for being here again. You're welcome anytime. Rue, don't let the doorknob hit you on the way out. No, just kidding. We love you, buddy.
You forgot, Future. You're my boy, Rue.
You're my boy, Rue. I texted that to him yesterday. Just give him that. Just randomly. You're my boy, Rue.
Shout out to Will Ferrell and Old School, right? And the Owen brothers. Anyway.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care.
Take care.
Take care.